Okay, so this is my video for check-in number 6. So a good chunk of this week I spent reviewing and getting ready for the test that we had this week. So towards the beginning of the week I finished up the homework for energy and momentum, and then I just spent a lot of time studying and getting ready for that test that we had. And so I'd probably say I spent, I don't know, 17 or 18 hours. I spent a long time studying and trying to familiarize myself with the material, and then also put together our sheet that we're allowed to use on the test. And I think that really helped me to study to be able to write out those notes and kind of familiarize myself with all of the equations that we've learned in this course up to this point. But some of the equation, or some of the problems that I solved for chapter 13 were the ones that involved momentum and impulse. And it's a pretty cool concept that we can use to solve a lot of problems that have to do with like impacts or crashes or things of that nature, where there's a big force over a short amount of time. That's kind of the definition that we use. And so we had problems where like a pulley was at rest, and then the time changed quickly or the velocity changed quickly, or the classic example, one of the problems was a ballistic pendulum. And so I spent some time solving those problems. And then I just tried to review everything that we've learned in the course. So I went through a lot of the previous homework problems for chapters 11, 12, and then 13. And I just tried to pick a good selection of those that I felt covered the main topics, and tried to practice them. And then I also spent quite a bit of time reviewing the information in the textbook up to the test material. And it just kind of helped me solidify the things that we've learned and talked about. But as I was studying, it was kind of cool to see the relationship between the chapter 11, 12, and 13 material that we've learned. Because as I went through it the first time, I was kind of focused on just that chapter specifically. And as I reviewed and tried to get ready for this test we had, I could really see how these problems were related to each other and how they kind of built on each other. So the material we learned in chapter 11, dealing with kinematics and motion and things of that nature, how we use that information in chapter 12 and 13, and then how chapter 12 and 13 are really two different methods that can solve similar problems in different ways, whether we use work or impulse, or if we use the chapter 12 methods of force equals mass times acceleration. And it was kind of interesting to see how similar those problems were, and yet how one method would be better for one instance compared to another. And so I think I feel pretty good about the material in chapters 11 through 13. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on most of the concepts, and that I was prepared for the test that we took. So after the test, I just barely took the test yesterday, but I did look over the chapter 15 material, which is the next section that we have coming up. And I just kind of familiarized myself with that and started looking at some of the review material from physics for that, and also in the book. And so I'm kind of trying to plan out my time and see how quickly I need to go through the material and what to do each week, so I can be ready for that. So yeah, so far everything's going pretty good. I find a lot of the concepts very interesting, but also challenging. And I'm ready to move on to chapter 15 and dive into our next section. So that's all. Thank you.